Hey guys, James here from TCG University, coming back at you with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be showing you my Goro deck that I played during the recent Cappy Championship between us and the Rochester boys. I had a lot of fun playing this deck. It's mostly close to a build that I played earlier in the year for like the Omaha PTC, or I guess at this point it'd be last year for the Omaha PTC. But I made some changes, so let's get into the profile and I'll show you what changes I made. Okay, guys, just a little recap on Goro. Goro says every time you commit one of your face downs, it counts as 2 when passing to play a card. He has a first form which says flip a foundation. You can pick up any 4 cards from your discard pile to your hand. And then once during your attacks, during each of your attacks, you can discard the top 4 cards of your deck to get 4 damage on your attacks, which makes them beefier. It also mills cards so Goro can pick them up later. Easy card. We'll try to figure out where the spot is right there. Okay. So we're going to talk about, the first card we're talking about is the key part to the entire deck. Swallow Your Soul. Swallow Your Soul is a 4/3, 5 low for 3. So it's a low attack. It has 3 base damage. It's safe. It's a throw. You'll never use it as a block, as this block is terrible. But it enhances if this attack deals 3 or more damage, you have the top card of your deck to momentum. Since Goro gives 4 damage on a half block or just a block in general with, because of the throw, it'll always deal 4 damage, meaning you'll almost always get your momentum with the swallow. The combo E, if you ever like play these back to back with each other, or just any other 3 damage attack, says it gets +1 damage for each card in your card pool as well. So sometimes that damage can stack up as on top of that. But mainly we use it to get some fast momentum and do some really cool combos. We're going to save one right here so I can talk about some of the cool combos. Set these off to the side. One of the main finishers in our deck is Dark Cherito. Dark Cherito is really strong. It's a 4 low 6. It's a 6 diff, but because of Goro, we don't care about committing too many cards. And has a stack that says our ability, your opponent cannot play abilities that could reduce the damage of your attacks or cause cards to leave our card pool. So we're safe from a lot of weird abilities that could either weaken Goro or destroy some of our attacks. Deadlock Enhance will almost never happen. Nobody really likes going to Deadlock, so we won't really need to talk about that. But it is a multiple 2, so a lot of times what your play could be, we have Missile Launcher because Goro likes milling cards, so Missile Launcher is a very good card. We'll talk about Missile Launcher soon. Missile Launcher, like pick up Missile Launcher, pick up 2 Swallows and a Dark Cherito, and you just go Missile Launcher on a low, Swallow on low, get your momentum, Swallow on low, get your momentum. Dark Cherito on a low, use the 2 momentum to then multiple 2. So like as your 4 pickup hand, you get to play 1, 2, 3, 4, plus your multiple 2, so for 5, 6 attacks. All of them are lows, all of them are for base 10 with Goro, base 7, base 7, base 10, 10, 10. Depending on other things you do, obviously, but like you get to throw some big attacks, and a lot of them are just under the low zone too. So it's very good. The other combo I play, and I should be playing more copies of this card, is Black Dog's Fangs. It has Breaker 1, Stun 1. It's a 4 high for 6, so it's a 4/10 with Goro. 2 high blocks, so it's very good against the off zone. But the main play for this is we pick up 3 Swallow Your Souls and the Black Dog's Fangs. And the way this works is, if you have no momentum, you play Black Dogs, you get your stun, you mill with Goro, and then you play your Swallow to then mill, and then on resolve, because your Swallow did damage, you'll get your momentum, and then Black Dogs can resolve, because another attack resolves, you can pay 1 momentum and add this back to your hand. To then you can just play your Black Dogs again, to then play another Swallow, and then when that deals, you get momentum, and you just continue this loop. Basically, by picking up 4 attacks, you get to play 7. So it's also one of my favorite combos in this deck. Like I said, next we're going to talk about the Missile Launchers. Just a basic card in Goro, mills extra cards, super good low attack. It's very fast, very early, puts up a very strong offense. One of my favorite cards in the deck, Spinning Pile Driver. This card is very good because as a first enhance, we get to get rid of almost any card that could cause us problems. If you don't like your opponent having Karma, you don't like them having things like Bakery Poster Girl, you can just flip them. Make sure you don't have to deal with them. With things like those in the meta, it really makes it hard to play our really long cool combos because they can be easily blocked. Now we were playing 2 Shogun Grab. Shogun Grab is really cool. Goro, you flip a foundation, basically allowing you to have +1 to your check at one point in the turn, as well as dumping a card from our deck to our discard pile, giving us the fuel to pick it up later with Goro. It also gets +1 damage for each 5 diff in our discard pile. In my opinion, it is the weakest throw in the deck, but it can get itself very big. Now we're on to the one-ofs in our Goro offensive lineup. We're playing the Voice from the Abyss. This card's really good. With our 1 momentum, if we have 1 momentum, we can use it and seal everything on the board outside of our characters and then continue to play our turn. So if we ever have, if our opponent has a bunch of options, but they can't stop this Voice of the Abyss, we can just stop everything on the board. Don't worry about our cards. They still commit for 2 because of Goro. We still give damage because of Goro. And then we just use our throws and just push damage through. It also has a solid 0 mid block. 1 Coffee Samba. We are a 4-hander, so drawing extra cards is real good. Starting our opponent's board is very good to make sure we push through our attacks. And if we ever need to use the multiple, we can, as each of these is 4 mid-9s with Goro. So having that is also very strong for us. Assets are very heavy, so I actually want to bump this up a little bit if I play more of this deck. We have Spine Sweep, 4 low 5, 4 low 9 with Goro. We can destroy up to 2 assets in either player's staging area. Assets are going to be very strong, and this card just kind of stops them. Pop, pop. We play 1 Maphis Assault. Maphis Assault is really cool in this deck because with Goro, we can mill 4 cards, and because of the way mechanics work in this game, we could choose what card of those 4 we want on top of our discard pile. And then Mayfa's All Enhanced says we can add 1 card from our discard pile to 1 card from the top of our discard pile to our hand. So we basically choose what card we want to add through Goro's 4 mill and get +1 hand size as well, which is very, very cool. And because a lot of our attacks are all lows, our main attack lineup outside Black Dogs is all lows. It just helps us fuel out more of those low blocks. And then the last attack in our deck is more of our defensive card for us, which is Woodman's Leaf Shield. It's just we mainly play it for the 1 mid block. It has safe if we ever do want to throw it on our turn, but we never really care about that. It's a +1 mid block that says all of our opponent's attacks get -2 damage the rest of the turn, which just kind of helps extend Goro's 40 life. Next, we'll talk about our 1 Cormorant. I'm only playing 1 of each of this and Elk Shield. We can play them from our staging area, and that's really all that really matters. Really, all that really matters. Basically, because once it's on board, we don't have to worry about having a hand. A lot of times, you'll play out your entire hand and then use what's on your board to play defense is mostly the way I try to play this deck. We play a lot of cards that either draw cards, mitigate damage, stuff like that. Just trying to limit our opponent on their turn to make sure we don't have to try and do anything else. This is a nice breaker 2, 1 mid block, sits on our board. Omega's Sword and Elk Shield, solid 1 mid block, checks a 6, which is also nuts sometimes. We can block with it from our staging area, and then anytime we do block with it, we only take 1 damage from that interaction. So if our opponent has this really big beefy attack and it's a throw like shotgun or something like that, just reduce it to 1. Don't have to worry about it. We have 1 stop, block, turn off your opponent's character. I actually think I should be playing 3 of this. Back to big numbers. I was just trying to play less. I wanted to play as low card count as I could. See how fast I can get the deck going. I think there's still a couple more things we can do to slim it down. Now we'll get into more of the things that flip, more give Goro better checks or just give us the option to go quicker in our fight. We have 2 Forbidden Technique. It's a breaker 1, 2 high block that says when we block with it, we ready to face down, which is really cool in Goro. Then E flip, we add the top card of our deck to our face down, which basically says +3 foundations, which is crazy. We're playing 3 Commander of the Outworld's Armies. I am playing this over the Toughest Punk, mainly because of the choice to flip a foundation. Toughest Punk can make us take 3 less, but this says we can give -2 to the next one, as well as flip something we don't want to have to deal with, which I think Goro really needs in his deck. It's one of the main reasons why we play Spinning Pile Driver, is to make sure that we take care of cards we don't want to have to deal with. As well as just getting minus damage is really good in a 40 health character. To speed along our offense as well as have some defensive capabilities, we have Voices in the Dark. E flip 1 foundation, this deck is -1 damage. Sometimes I'll use this on my own foundations just so I have more face downs to commit during my attack turn. And sometimes we just use it to make sure our opponents don't hit us as hard. There's always a light and there's always a dark. We have 2 Goro's victory pose to make sure our opponent can't play bang or stop and stuff like that. If they even play it sometimes. Just E flip, actions can't be played, so it becomes a +1 foundation, as well as turning off things like bang, stops, stuff we don't have to deal with. And then we have 4 Hell's Reach. Play ball committed, ready this foundation, E flip. So it goes from being committed into being 2 foundations, which is pretty good in Goro. And it's a spam, so we don't have to worry about turn 1 builds, especially when we're playing a couple of 2s and 1s. We have Folktale Storyteller. It's a good low block that moves from our card pool. On play, we can mill 3, and then if we happen to have 2 foundations, we can also add it to our staging area. A lot of times this is really good for our open builds as it mills more cards quicker. But having the ability to just block low attacks like Nutcracker and such is just really good. This is one of the newer cards I'm testing out and I'm really enjoying. Betrayer of 12. It's a 2/5, 2 high block. The main ability we're playing is the R commit. After the block step of your attack, if it was blocked, you get to draw a card. If it was not blocked, your opponent flips a foundation. I want to test a flip build and see how this plays around with that. But I love the top half of this ability as throwing 7 damage throws and like 10 damage other attacks. Really entices your opponent to block your attacks. And being a 4-hander, drawing extra cards is extremely good. So why not benefit from your opponent not wanting to get hit in the face for 10? We're going to play Solemn Exorcism, 2 of them. I actually wish this was like 3 or 4. Tam hates this card. I think this card's extremely good in Goro because of the fact you want to play your entire hand out. If you have no cards in hand, you draw a card. That's all it says. +1 hand size on defense, which is just really good as Goro. Then the main normal defensive option in Goro is just Shokin Prince, 4 of it. While it's on the board, it's not allowed to be destroyed by your opponent's effects. And then if it's ready, if your printed hand size is less than your opponent's, non-foundation cards get +1 difficulty. Attacks, actions, assets, all get +1. And then for Goro, since we commit face downs for 2, we don't have to worry about how bad we check or how many of these we have on board. So we can just commit these and face downs and then continue attacking. But our opponent still has to deal with the fact that their 2 diff assets now 4 diff. Their 4 diff action is now 8 diff. Like it makes things real rough. If you have 4 of these out and your opponent's trying to play Punch and Judy, nah, dude. Pass. Please commit 1 on best to pass those. We got 2 Bakery Poster Girl. Sometimes you do want to play defense, so having just an eject button is pretty nice with Bakery Poster Girl. We got 1 Dark Side Karma. It's a nice 1 low block if we ever need it, as well as it can counter non-character, non-weapon enhances, which is pretty cool since we don't get to play Revoke. We play a couple of assets that are really good in our hands, so having Guardian of the Spear Sword is really nice, just to be able to pick those up if we ever don't pick them up with Goro. We have 1 Castaway and Forgotten, just solid, just seal stuff. Make sure our opponents can't hit us too hard. Now we're on to our last few cards are just protecting our foundations. Some of them are important. So we have 2 Sense of Morals. If our cards are stunned or committed due to our opponent's effects, we ready them, which is really good as a Goro player, and you commit face downs for those abilities. Just ready those, so you're readying 2 foundations technically with Sense of Morals, which is pretty cool. Then we got 3 Pursuing a Vendetta. If one of our cards leaves, we replace it with something new. It's really cool depending on like what you grab. Like if you need an eject button, you have the Bakery Poster Girl. If you want things like Hell's Reach, which readies itself to get 2 foundations, that's also playable. So that's pretty cool. And then the last 2 is Protect and Protector. We can discard Momentum to just basically cancel about anything negative against us in the game. Whether it's destroying, flipping, removing, sealing, committing, just cancel it all. As long as we discard Momentum, we're fine. Thanks again for checking out the profile, guys. If you enjoy the deck profile, let me know down below. Make sure to check out the Campus Championship, the other deck profiles, and the other matches inside of this all. Shout out to Rochester for hanging out, for giving us ideas for this and stuff and whatnot. Make sure to check out our other videos on the channel. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out the Patreon, guys. Make sure to hit us up on that. And see y'all next time.